Hey there, I'm a fellow barbecue enthusiast, Mike Baker here at Baker's Barbecue. Hey, today we got the Masterbuilt digital 40-inch electric smoker. We got it all fired up. I've got the Masterbuilt slow cold smoker attachment all hooked up. And we got 2 brisket flats. We're going to be smoking on this thing all day, low and slow at about 260 degrees. The brisket flats are about 2 pounds a piece. And we're going to have them seasoned up in some Baker's Barbecue Champions blend. And I'm going to top that off with a little bit of 16 mesh black pepper. And the reason I use the black pepper on it, first of all, I like the flavor of the black pepper on brisket. But the black pepper does a really good job of helping create a good crusty bark on the brisket, which is exactly what we're looking for. So hopefully you guys will fire up your Masterbuilt digital electric smokers today and cook right along with me. Let's get to smoking. All right, so I'm going to go pretty simple today on the seasoning. I'm just going to put a little bit of Baker's Barbecue, a Champions blend. Good on all cuts of meat, but really good, good on beef. And I'm going to come back over the top of that with a little bit of a layer of 16 mesh black pepper. And that's going to help it to build a good bark. I like doing that on brisket. So I'm just going to start off pretty simple. I'm going to go ahead and cook fat side up today. Not really going to do any trimming. Everything looked good. It's like the grain is running oddly side to side on these briskets. So I will go ahead and cut me a marker. So when it's time to slice it later, I will know exactly how to do that. Because you always want to make sure you're slicing against the grain. Put on a little bit of pepper first. Yeah, I didn't have to do any trimming at all on this. I mean, it was already trimmed up good. The fat cap was very minimal, but I wanted to leave a little bit on. So it was pretty well good to go. I didn't have to do really much anything to it. Just took it out of the package and wiped it down. And then now doing the seasoning. Or I may have said a while ago, but I'll repeat it. These are about 2 pounds. I think one was right at 2 pounds and one was like 1.9 pounds. So they're not very big, but believe it or not, it still take them a long time to cook. All right, so I'm just going to let these sit here, let them sweat out for probably about an hour. I've got the smoker coming up to temp, and when we get to temp, we'll put these on, but I'm going to let them sit about an hour and let them sweat out and let all the rub settle in real good with the moisture from the meat. That really helps to create a good bark. And then we'll get outside and we'll get it on. All seasoned up, ready to go. Nice little layer of black pepper on there on top of the rub. Oh yeah. Let's get these 2 nice looking briskets in here. Little brisket flats. I'm going to put one on the top rack and I'm going to put one right directly below that on the next rack down. I've also got in there plenty of water in the water pan to make sure I can maintain good moisture throughout the cook. So now let's step over here and let's get the slow cold smoker attachment fired up and get it going. All right, so I've already got it filled full. I filled it up last night when I was getting everything set up. Where I got it plugged in. All I'm going to do is just come in here, hit this button, turn red, and I'm going to go up here and I'm going to open up my vent all the way. I have found through tinkering with this that you have to open up that vent all the way in order to create a good draft coming out of the slow smoker attachment up through the smoker and out the top. And by doing that also, it allows the smoke to get on out of there. You don't want any dirty smoke lingering in this smoker. All right, we got some good smoke production starting in. This would be after probably, I would say probably just about 3 or 4 minutes or less, maybe even just a couple minutes. I just turned it on, did a couple more things, and I'm back to it. So there are a couple things I've figured out, just using the slow smoker attachment to this point. One is after it gets to a point, I would say probably after about an hour and a half or so into the cook, I do have to come out and I have to open it up and check, make sure the wood has dropped all the way down in the wood hopper, is what I call it. Sometimes what happens is it creates a little bit of a tar buildup on the side. I think it gets a little bit sticky. So some of the wood chips will hang on, they won't drop down. So I just take a little clothes hanger or just a little piece of metal of some sort, a piece of wood or whatever, and just kind of push that down in there to make sure that the wood has dropped to the bottom and is sitting down there on top of the heating coil. All right, we're going to put in our probes. Today I'm using my Inkbird IRF 4S. You've seen me profile this in other videos. I'll have a link down below as well. It's a really good thermometer setup. I love using it. It's been extremely reliable for me. I have used this one here for about 3 years, and I've actually bought a backup. I bought a backup probably about 2 or 3 months after I bought this one, and I've never had to use it. So I've been using this one here for 3 years, and this thing still is working phenomenal. Here's the IRF 4S. I did a video on this. I profiled this a while back. So go look through my videos if you want to know more about it. Plus, I'll put a link down there below, like I said. But I've actually got a video that kind of breaks it down a little bit. Go check that video out. So we're right at the 3-hour mark. We're looking at an internal temperature of about 160 degrees, kind of averaged out between the two. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up. I'm going to go ahead and look at the brisket, see how the bark's developing, and see if we need to go ahead and spritz. Actually, I'm going to pull them out. Oh yeah, looking good. I can already tell it's dry. Definitely needs a little bit of spritzing. Get it real good all the way around. Just setting there back in. Oh yeah, it's ready. So I'm spritzing here today with a little bit of apple juice, a little bit of apple cider vinegar, a little bit of water. It's probably about 80%, I'd say about 90% apple juice, 10% or about 5% cider vinegar, the rest of it's water. Good thing about when you spritz like this, it'll get it moist again, and it'll dry it back out. But when it does, each time it does that, it develops that bark. That's why you got to wait until the bark is set up before you start actually spritzing it, or you can never form a bark. All right, so we're going to go ahead and shut it back down here and let it go probably about another hour or so, and I'll come back out and spritz it again. We've hit about 172, 173 internal temperature. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the briskets. They've been on right at 6 hours and looking really good. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to throw down a little beef tallow on some foil, put it down as the base. I'm not going to pour it over. I'm not going to pour it over the brisket because I don't want to mess up my bark. So I'm just going to take it off and basically just set the brisket down right on top of it, just like that. Let that settle in here in a little while if it comes to temperature and it's resting, and then later when I slice it, it'll work out pretty good because I'll be able to pour some of that back over the top of it. As you can see, I cut my foil a little bit too long here. It's no big deal. Make sure you got it tight. You don't want it to sit there and steam. Just cross on the seams just like that. Make sure by doing that, you cover your seams up, which works out good. Wrap it back around. Fold the ends back. And from there, I'll just take my thermometer, slide it back down in there, about like that right there. Take that, place it back in the smoker. Got them tucked back away, so we're going to let that go for next 2 or 3 hours. I'll come out and I'll start checking it for probe tender, and it'll be done anywhere between 195 and probably 203, 205, somewhere in that range. So we'll keep an eye on it and let it finish on out, and we get done. We're going to let it rest on the counter for a couple, 3 hours wrapped up until it's time to eat. All right there, I'm a fellow barbecue enthusiast. We got the brisket flats all done. They look beautiful, and I can't wait to try them. Let's just do a quick recap. We put them out there on the Masterbuilt digital electric smoker using the Masterbuilt slow cold smoker attachment. They were 2 about 2-pound brisket flats, seasoned them up with some Baker's barbecue, put a layer of coarse black pepper on there to help create a good bark, and we smoked them about 7 hours. They come to a temperature of about 205 degrees. So let's take a quick bite and let's see how we did. Give me a nice piece out of there. Look at that. There we go. Dripping juice everywhere. Do a little pull test on that. Pulls right apart. Well, a little bite there. Juicy. Mmm. Perfect. I can't complain about that whatsoever. Turned out juicy, tender, good pull, good bark on there from the coarse black pepper, and the Masterbuilt digital electric smoker didn't fail again. I got to tell you, you got to check this smoker out. I love all kinds of smoking. I love charcoal, wood. I love it all. Masterbuilt digital electric smoker as well. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. Thank you for joining me today. If you would, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. If you're not new, hey, thanks for coming back and spending the day with me. And until the next time I see you, happy smoking.